The city was alive with the sound of hurried footsteps, car horns, and chatter, but in one quiet corner near the subway entrance sat an 8-year-old girl named Lily, her voice rising above the noise like sunlight through clouds. She sat beside her mother on a worn blanket, a small cardboard sign in front of them reading, "Need food. God bless you." Her clothes were faded, her shoes torn, but her eyes carried a light far stronger than her hardships. Instead of begging, Lily sang. Her voice was clear, angelic, and full of soul, a yodel-style gospel song she had learned from her late grandmother. The song wasn't just music, it was her prayer to Jesus, a plea wrapped in hope and gratitude. As her voice echoed through the tunnels, people began to stop. Some smiled, others recorded her performance with tears in their eyes. Her mother, weary but proud, clasped her hands together and whispered, "Sing, baby. Sing for him." Each note seemed to carry their story, the cold nights, the hunger, the faith that kept them going. A kind stranger filmed her entire performance and later posted it online with the caption, "An angel on the streets." Within hours, the video spread like wildfire. Comments poured in from around the world, praising the little girl's faith and talent. "She sings with heaven in her voice," one wrote. A few days later, while Lily and her mother shared a small loaf of bread, her mother's phone buzzed. It was a message that would change their lives forever, an invitation to audition for America's Got Talent. Tears filled her mother's eyes as she whispered, trembling, "God heard us, Lily. He really did." The morning of the audition arrived like a dream. Lily wore a simple white dress her mother had stitched from donated fabric, and her tiny hands trembled as she clutched a small wooden cross. They had traveled miles by bus to reach the Grand Theater where America's Got Talent was being filmed. As they stepped into the building, the brightness of the lights, the chatter of the crew, and the echo of footsteps filled Lily with both wonder and fear. Her mother knelt beside her and whispered, "Don't be scared, sweetheart. Just sing the way you always do, for Jesus." Lily nodded, holding back tears. Moments later, she stood backstage, watching other contestants perform. Some danced, others juggled, but she knew her gift was different. When her name was called, "Next up, Lily Grace." The crowd went quiet. Lily walked out slowly, her heart pounding. The judges, Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, Heidi Klum, and Howie Mandel, looked at her curiously. Simon leaned forward and asked gently, "Hello, darling. What's your name?" Lily's voice quivered, "My name is Lily Grace. I'm 8 years old, and I sing for Jesus." The audience melted into silence. Simon smiled kindly, "Then we'd love to hear you sing." As the soft music began, Lily closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Her voice floated across the stage, a yodeling gospel song so pure and emotional that it silenced the room. The high notes shimmered, the low ones carried pain and prayer. Even the crew backstage stopped working to listen. When the final note faded, the crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Lily's hands covered her mouth in shock. Her mother sobbed backstage, whispering, "That's my baby. That's my miracle." The theater was filled with the sound of applause that seemed to shake the walls. Lily stood frozen, her little hands trembling, her eyes wide with disbelief. She couldn't believe the sea of people standing just for her. Even the judges were speechless. Simon Cowell leaned back for a moment, then leaned forward again, his usual stern expression replaced by something softer, something deeply moved. "Lily," he began slowly, his voice thick with emotion, "I've heard thousands of singers, but I've never felt something quite like that." The audience grew silent, hanging on his words. He continued, "You didn't just sing a song, you gave us your heart. I could hear your faith in every note." Tears shimmered in Lily's eyes. She looked toward her mother, who stood side stage, sobbing quietly, whispering a prayer of thanks. Simon looked down for a moment, trying to compose himself. The camera caught his eyes glistening. He finally stood up, looked at the other judges, all nodding, visibly touched, and said softly, "This isn't just talent. This is purpose." He placed his hand on the golden buzzer. The audience gasped. "Lily," he said, his voice cracking slightly, "you just changed your life." Then, he pressed it. A burst of golden confetti exploded from above, shimmering like falling stars. Lily covered her face and began to cry, overwhelmed. Simon walked to the stage as the crowd chanted her name. He knelt beside her and said quietly, "You're special, sweetheart. The world needed to hear you." Her mother ran onto the stage, hugging Lily tightly as the music swelled. The moment became unforgettable, a symbol of faith, hope, and the power of one small voice that reached heaven. Within days of the golden buzzer moment, Lily's story spread across the world. News channels replayed her performance again and again. Headlines read, "Homeless Girl's Song to Jesus Brings Simon Cowell to Tears." Churches shared her video during services, and thousands of people wrote messages of love and support. "You gave us hope," one comment said. "Your voice reminded me to believe again," wrote another. For the first time, Lily and her mother were not invisible. Donations began pouring in from kind strangers, enough to get them a small apartment. The first night they slept there, Lily whispered, "Mom, I have my own bed." Her mother laughed and cried at once, saying, "God did this, baby. He really did." They hung a small wooden cross on the wall, the same one Lily had carried to her audition. Life began to change. Lily was invited to sing at churches, charity events, and children's hospitals. Each time, she sang her yodel-style gospel song, the same one she used to sing on the streets. But now, it echoed in beautiful halls filled with light and love. Despite all the attention, Lily remained humble. "It's not about being famous," she told one reporter, "it's about showing people that Jesus never forgets you." One evening, she returned to the subway where her journey began. The same corner, the same wind, but this time, hundreds of people had gathered. She stood on the old blanket, holding her microphone, and sang again. Her voice rose through the tunnels, pure and strong. Tears rolled down faces as her song carried a message of faith and second chances. When she finished, she smiled softly and said, "Never lose hope. God listens, even from the streets." Months later, the grand finale of America's Got Talent arrived. The stage glowed with golden lights, and millions watched from around the world. Lily, now more confident but still humble, stood at the center of the stage in a white dress sparkling under the lights. Her mother sat in the front row, her eyes brimming with pride and tears. As the music began, Lily took a deep breath and whispered softly, "This is for you, Jesus." The first notes of her original song, "Jesus Found Me," filled the auditorium, a beautiful blend of gospel and gentle yodeling that carried every bit of her heart. Each lyric told her story, the cold nights, the hunger, the faith that never broke, and the miracle that followed. Her voice soared high, trembling with emotion yet shining with strength. The audience sat utterly still, spellbound. When the final note rang out, the hall erupted into cheers and applause. The judges rose to their feet, tears streaming down their faces. Simon Cowell pressed his hands together, visibly moved. "Lily," he said, his voice shaking, "you're not just a singer, you're a miracle. You reminded us all that light can come from the darkest places." Golden lights filled the stage as confetti fell once more. Lily looked up, smiling through her tears, and whispered, "Thank you, Jesus." Her mother rushed onto the stage, embracing her tightly as the audience cheered. The camera zoomed in on Lily's radiant face as her voice echoed softly in the background, "Even when you're lost, Jesus can find you." The screen faded to golden light, ending with the words, "Faith can turn pain into purpose."